How are you?
Suk, I got a new shirt today.
You look very good.
These are from our good friends at Nantucket.
Oh, you love Tuck It.
Wait,
Tuck It.
Let me say that again.
Untuck It with the little triangle.
Suk, I got a new shirt today.
It's from Untuck It? Not Nantucket. Nantucket is an island.
Untuck It, yes. Nantucket.
Off the coast of Massachusetts that all the
Suk,
Nantucket.
These Untucket shirts are perfectly fitting, I got to tell you.
I wanted to buy Eric one of those shirts for Christmas, I got to tell you. Are you happy with it?
You know what the good thing about Untucket is?
You tell me.
They're a little pricey. The shirts are like $90, $100.
Yeah.
But if you're a guy walking, and they don't even sponsor the show, I'm just telling you.
No, that's good.
If you're a guy walking around and you have the untucked shirt, but it's too long, you look like a dummy.
Yeah.
And people notice it right away. Like if I have my shirts used to be a little too. These guys have it down, Suk. They have it down to a T.
Does it just cover your
right above the schmeckle area, Suk? That's the in between zipper schmeckle is the perfect length, and they have slim fit, so it doesn't look like you got a big stomach. The whole deal. I'm feeling kind of sexy right here in my new.
It's a very nice color. It's a very nice color. It's very autumnal.
Yeah. It's like a brownish, grayish. I don't know what the hell it is, but I said, you know what? Michael Starr's coming on today. Sal the Voice is coming on today. I'm gonna look handsome. So Sal and I singing. By the way, and we didn't even start the show yet, but do you remember? Remember when Sal was on our morning show? Remember when he came in?
When he came and sang. Yeah.
Let me give you, Suki, just a 9-second refresher of when Sal came in.
He thinks he can sing.
Sal, he ate it up and spit it out.
Remember Sal came in? I got to tell you, he's all over the place now. He's doing Christmas albums.
I was going to say, He's got a beautiful Christmas album that's out.
Yeah.
By the way, my new thing, I happen to be online. I mean, I thought, since we already got the lead singer of Styx.
Oh, yeah, true. Dennis DeYoung. Yeah. Both lead singers, actually.
Did we?
We had the new one. You weren't here that day. Naomi D. Clemente was on with me. We've had both lead singers on. Yeah.
Okay, so I thought maybe we should go after Journey's only lead singer. Why not? Steve Perry. He's got a Christmas album out too, and I know a lot of people. That must have been a soundtrack, but he's very, very. He's a recluse, they say.
Are you discounting the current lead singer of?
No, I love the current lead singer. I love him. The search that when they went to the Philippines, they found him. I don't know his name.
He sounds eerily like Steve Perry, right?
Crazy good.
That is unbelievable. I love it. So yeah, listen, if you can get Steve Perry on the show and find
let's do it. Let's start tweeting it up.
Right?
Steve, I hear you have a Christmas album. We'd like to have you on.
We have just a couple people. Stephen Bauer is coming on very soon. Stephen Bauer, the actor. Kara. I just lost her last name. She's gonna kill me. Kara from Stranger Things plays the mother.
Yes.
Cara Buono from Stranger Things is coming on soon. Debbie Gibson is coming on soon.
Did we get the great Debbie Gibson to come on?
We are getting Debbie. I have been hounding her for a year and a half.
Oh, I've
hounded her so much that she now sends me voice messages on Instagram. She's like, Scott. I'm like, she puts up videos of her taking out her garbage in Las Vegas.
You're like, you could give us a half hour.
I'm like, Deb, come on. We're going to sing. We're going to dance. We're going to have fun. But anyway, it's all good, Suk. Everybody's loading up. And like I said, Michael Starr is here. He's got a great new book out about Don Rickles. Boy, what a career Rickles. I was watching videos of him. He is funny as can be, man.
It's just a timeless time. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounded silly that I just said that it's a timeless time.
It's
very nostalgic,
comedy, right? But his comedy still works today. It's great.
It's very nostalgic. And you know what? I feel like this whole generation is completely lost. Your child, my child, they're lost generation because they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't.
They don't get to even. They don't even watch this stuff on TV because there's so much out there.
Yeah.
You and I, we had to watch it on, a channel here and there as we were flipping through.
My dad used to have those. Don Rickles would be on those Dean Martin roasts back in the day.
Dean Martin.
Oh, so good. So good, Soak. All right, you ready to rock and roll?
All right, let's do it.
Let's start it up. Here we go.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
Suki and Scott, the 7 of Hearts. Woo! Exactly.
This is a sexy show.
Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey as they bring you the Suki and Scott Show.
You guys nailed it. You're great. You ask great questions. You listen.
I answered you because I have respect for you guys, and it was a question respectfully put.
The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor.
You like De Niro and Cape Fear. Counselor!
Entertainment.
Jesse's girl.
Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
And optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Ultraviolet light, it gets in there and it just fights the kung flu, is that right? Okay.
Let's laugh together.
I love him.
The Suki and Scott Show.
That's the best intro for a show I maybe have ever seen.
Really?
Your intro is fantastic.
Eric Roberts, he's on to something, Sue. Listen, I know I forgot to mention, and Michael, I know you can hear me. Grab a pad and a piece of paper, a pen and a piece of paper, because
we're playing a game.
We're gonna play. You know, Michael's he's a legendary
trivia
TV
buff.
writer.
Yeah,
and I got a little TV trivia for you.
You want me to go against Michael Starr?
Yes, Suki. That's what you will do, young lady.
That's what I will be doing today. All right.
So, by the way, people still talking about, as Halloween is coming up, people still talking about one of the shows we did last week because there was some weird stuff going on at your house, Suki. Let's revisit. Hold on. Take a look.
But those are the guys that I'm typically doing the impression.
I see. I always see. What the hell was that? Was it Halloween back there already?
You got a ghost in the back there.
Do you hear the music?
So
pay no attention. Pay no attention. The man behind the curtain.
Legoman.
That's
one of my favorites. But I'd say Ashton Kutcher is probably another one that does pretty well. I kind of learned to do this impression because I had a crush on this girl who was obsessed with him.
I didn't think you saw the hand because my husband came out.
That was like ninja dishwashing emptying right there.
I mean, he was just like, I'm like, Eric. He's like, I don't want to be on. I just want to go get my stuff.
It's like he couldn't wait 5 minutes, right? I love it. He puts the thing. Listen,
funny.
It was great.
Very
Good
funny.
stuff. Good stuff. I miss him cleaning in the background.
I miss him too.
Anyway, Suk, listen, our first guest today is a
renowned television critic.
He's legendary here in the New York area. New York Post critic, writer, columnist. He's the guy who covers all the TV shows, the local news broadcasts, but he's also, Michael Starr, a celebrity biographer as well. And he has done like a bio on Red Fox and Joey Bishop and Art Carney, Ringo Starr, right? There's so much to talk to him about, but he's got one out right now about Don Rickles called The Merchant of Venom, which was one of his nicknames. And Rickles had such an amazing career. Started, he wanted to be a dramatic actor, and the gigs weren't really coming to him. He had a couple of roles, but then he went to the clubs, started doing comedy. Frank Sinatra walked in one day and he started goofing on Frank, and they became friends. So we're going to talk to Michael about all this stuff, but let me give you a little Don Rickles right here. I was watching his stuff yesterday, and he was, I caught him from years ago at an event with President Reagan and Nancy Reagan. And he's just, he doesn't care who's in the room.
Rickles. Yes.
Here's a little bit of Don Rickles, and then we'll bring Michael Starr on the other side.
Good evening, Mr. President. Nice to see you, sir, and your lovely wife, Nancy. It's a big treat for me to fly all the way from California to be here for this kind of money. See, I still got the tuxedo marked down. Anyway, You need 38 tags to get in here. 38 tags. The Secret Service is walking around the lobby. Did you see the president? Anybody see the president? Where's the president? The president's with Nancy in the hall going, let's try it one more time. Remember when you were governor and you used to walk over to my table? Now you're big and you're getting on my nerves. I'll tell you this. Is he laughing? If you see Marines coming towards me, go into glory, glory, hallelujah, and shoot Webster. Anyway, nice to see you, Secretary Schultz. What are you doing in town? Anyway,
Michael
Back when there was some
Starr.
grace to that.
That's great.
Michael, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
It's so fun. You know what's funny? When he mentions Webster, Webster was the little kid who was the actor.
Emmanuel
on the
Lewis.
show.
Yes.
Right, Emmanuel Lewis.
Is that a trivia question?
No, no,
Is
not
that
yet.
one of your-
That's not one of
damn
them. Emmanuel Lewis introduces him at the start of that video, and Emmanuel Lewis, who's all of 3'2", gives him the mic and he says, "You better be funny, Rickles." It's really good. Don, slaps him back. You'll never be a basketball player, kid. But just so
Yeah,
good.
there's some stories that he knew Ronald Reagan from, because Rickles lived in LA, and he knew him from way back in the 50s, and they were very friendly with each other. It's very funny stuff.
Oh my God. And when you listen to some of the stuff from back then, you can't air a lot of that stuff now because people will get ticked off. And I kind of, I maneuvered to which ones wouldn't get anybody upset. But it's really wild to some of the stuff when you watch Suki. You ever see the old roasts, the Dean Martin roasts?
Oh my
And,
God,
all Bob Hope and Dean Martin and all those guys. They
have those infomercials on the roast where you
they
can get a collection of the Dean Martin roast.
Time Life.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Time Life. Order right now.
Yes.
But those guys, they crush each other in those roasts, and it's just so great. But Michael, anyway, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. We know you, of course, here in the New York area, the New York Post, TV. I guess you could say critic, columnist. But again, a celebrity biographer, and when you
observer of all things.
Yeah. But we'll talk. We'll get into all that stuff because I think you had us in the column maybe a couple times here and there, but nothing ever. I don't think Michael Starr ever ripped me in the columns because I never did anything to upset
I think a couple
anybody.
of other people in the New York Post might have ripped me, but back then you didn't have like right now if somebody ripped me, I would rip them right back, and
Right.
I would.
Right, because you'd have
back then you'd be like, do I really want to do this? Do I want to get into this?
I want to get on their bad side.
Twitter feud.
Yeah. But Michael, anyway, listen, again, I was telling Suk how you've done a bunch of biographies on some pretty big names, but Rickles is the one that's out right now, and it's called The Merchant of Venom. And so when
the title is fantastic, first of all.
When you could pick somebody, when you have a choice of all these people to pick from, what was it about Don Rickles, and what'd you like so much about him, and what'd you learn about him in the writing of this book?
Well, first of all, I always try to pick people who haven't been written about yet. To do a biography of Marilyn Monroe or JFK, or it's been done, and Don, he's been gone about 5.5 years now, and I felt it was a good time. I'm first of all, number one, a fan of his, always have been. I think got a couple of years on you guys, and I remember watching him there he is, watching him on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and CPO Sharkey in the 70s. One of his failed well, actually that was the sitcom that worked for him, air quotes, because it was on for 2 seasons.
Right.
That was his longest sitcom. Yeah. But he was a funny guy, and I've always been a big fan of his. I had a chance to speak to him several times for the Post back when he was a little younger and healthier, and then about 1.5 years before he passed away. We mentioned Time Life Video. They were putting out a collection of his TV work.
Right.
And he got on the phone to talk about it. At that point, his health was failing, and but he was always very insightful. Didn't insult me very much at that time because he wasn't feeling well. But earlier, I mean, you expected it. You knew
you want that. Yeah, you wanted it.
Yeah. He's like, what are you at the post? I line my bird cage with that piece of garbage. That kind of stuff. But you expected it, and it was almost like a badge of honor to be insulted. It was part of his shtick, and he wasn't like that in real life. He was a nice guy. He was a mensch, as we say, and
he was a guy from Queens. What is there not to love? He brought that New York sensibility to the world, like that kind of caustic, kind of one-line zinger. That a lot of New Yorkers, we possess that ability to do that. Obviously not at the level of Rickles, but boy, that was comedy at its finest.
Yeah, and it was a skill I don't think he even realized he had until, as Scott, as you mentioned in the intro, he really wanted to be a dramatic actor. He attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts here in New York. Yes, there he is with Clint Eastwood and Kelly's Heroes.
Oh wow!
But
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, right. He could never quite make it. It's not that he was a bad actor. I think he as he proved later on in movies like Casino and a couple, and Run Silent, Run Deep with Clark Gable. He was a decent actor. But, listen, so were millions of other people and other people in New York who were trying to make it. But he really found his niche when he started, working the nightclubs, and he was down in a club in D.C. It was a strip joint. And there were a lot of, there were sailors there who were heckling him back because, he was near the port. And he found himself heckling them back, and he discovered that he had a real talent for this. And, and then it took off from there, obviously. It took him a few years. You mentioned before, Scott, about Sinatra. And I think Don really got his first huge break when he was at a club called Murray Franklin's in Miami Beach. That particular Tonight Show is one of the classics.
Yeah.
With Don and Sinatra. and Don's mother knew Frank Sinatra's mother down at Miami Beach, and she convinced Frank to go see Sonny Boy, as she called him, at Murray Franklin's, which was a small club. It wasn't huge, but Sinatra walked in, and Frank said, "Hey," Don said, "Hey, Frank, go ahead, make yourself at home, hit somebody." People thought, oh my God, nobody insults Frank Sinatra. Sinatra laughed, so that means everybody else laughed.
Right, everybody was waiting for the response.
Right, big sigh of relief. Sinatra loved him, and they had a lifelong friendship.
Was he a part of the Brat Pack? Was he another formidable member, or was he a?
He was sort of a satellite member. Like, he had the robe with his name on it, bullet head, which was Sinatra called him. And they would come when he was in Vegas, usually at the Sahara. They would come and razz him from the stage. And there's a story in the book about how they once took his robe off when he was in the steam room, and he had to run out naked in front of a lot of people and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think he wasn't like, Joey Bishop or Peter Lawford or Sammy or Dean Martin as far as the core. Mm-hmm. But they all knew him, they all loved him, and he was sort of a satellite member of the Rat Pack. Yes.
I love it. Yeah, and it's just so when you look back at those roasts, like I mentioned before, it's almost like Archie Bunker, right? Those things back then, you can't even. I don't know if you can air those now on regular television, because those guys, with the race and the color and the
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right, I'm the Jewish guy, and they really go at it. But it is, it's so quick, it's fast, and he said he never wrote down his jokes, right? He never had like a set list of jokes.
He didn't. He was actually the only performer on the roasts that didn't have his lines written for him. He just went up and did his act, basically. He knew most of the people anyway. But it's funny because if you watch the Rickles over the years, he would change his act up a little bit each night, but it was basically the same with little minor edits and adds, depending on when he was, especially when he was working a club, they would purposely pick people who were overweight or who looked like they were from out of town or who they thought weren't the best looking. And they would put them right down in the front row because they knew that's what Don needed. Kind of like the low hanging fruit to pick.
Yeah.
and he would, and he made fun of everybody. But so the act didn't really change that much over the years. It was funny every night, And I think later in his career, maybe in the late 70s, early 80s, that started to catch up with him a little bit. And he did more television, but it never, I say that with a grain of salt because it started to catch up to him as far as he always sold out. But I think people went to see Don Rickles knowing what they were going to see.
Right.
It's like why people watch, Law and Order.
Yeah.
Endlessly, or SVU. It's on all the time, but you know what you're going to get, and it's kind of like comfort food. Yeah, he was he did the Howard Stern show famously several times, and and he was with Carson. I mean, it was appointment television in the 70s to watch Don on Carson show, sometimes just walking in unannounced, kind of like Bob Hope would do.
Yeah.
You showed the photo of him with Sinatra. That was one night he just walked in and he destroyed Sinatra for 5 minutes. Frank, I know your friend in Jersey, Mongo Mangananzo. He started his car up, boom, he's all over Jersey City now, like stuff like that, and making fun of him. And Sinatra loved it. Johnny Carson loved him. He was a terrific guest.
You've done several.
So yeah, it was.
I was going to say, you've done several biographies. What is the thing that you hope that readers take away, or what is the one thing that you learned about Rickles, putting it all, piecing his life together, beginning, middle, and end, and knowing and coming up with the title, Merchant of Venom?
Yeah, as Scott mentioned, Merchant of Venom was one of his nicknames. I think Mr. Warmth was the more popular one because Johnny Carson popularized that. Although Milton Berle, it's in the book, back in the late 50s, referred to him as Mr. Warmth. But Carson really, or I think he once called him the poster boy for birth control, But I think what I'd like people to take away is that there was a human being behind the facade of the machine gun telling, insulting everybody comedian who was a nice guy and didn't really have hatred in his heart. And he would actually say that also. He would always end his act, with "I'm a nice guy," or he would sing or do impressions, because he wanted people to know that he made his living that way, but he didn't really feel that way about humanity. I mean, it was just it was a shtick with him.
Yeah.
And there was more to him, and even the fact that he really did want to be a dramatic actor and wasn't going to be a comedian or an insult comic. There he is with Clark Gable and on the set of Run Silent, Run Deep, and 1958, I believe. And he also was such people who might not realize this, younger people. And as far as 1960s sitcoms like Gilligan's Island and The Munsters and Get Smart,
he showed
The
up.
Addams Family. He was on so many of these, and I go into a little bit at length in the book about that. And there were some photos in there too, because it's so interesting to me that he was such a big part of the television landscape, not just as a insulting people, on the Dean Martin roast or whatever. He was also the first comedian to get, I think it was something like 14 minutes of airtime on the Dean Martin show. That was one of his big TV breaks. Before the roasts, they brought Don on. Dean Martin loved him so much they brought in celebrities, and it was like a nightclub setting. And Dean Martin devoted 12 to 14 minutes, I believe it was. I might be wrong about that. Of his primetime to Don, just ripping on these celebrities. I mean, Don said he didn't know who was going to be there ahead of time, but there were celebrities. Pat Boone, I think, was one of them, and he didn't really seem very tickled by Don's humor, but most people were. I mean. He was one of his early targets was Ernest Borgnine, who had won the Oscar for Marty. Don picked on him relentlessly. He showed up at the Slate Brothers Club in L.A. That was Don's big break in L.A. Slate Brothers. He sold out for like 2 years, and Borgnine was one of his early. He showed up because he loved it, and he would pick on Ernie, is that your wife, or who's that ugly? Oh, it's not an ugly woman, it's you. That sort of thing. Even later, when he made Casino with Martin Scorsese, Marty, stand on a chair so I can see you. That kind of thing.
Well,
people expected it.
I mean, he was also Mr. Potato in Toy Story. Come on, let's have a moment with that. My children love that character. And
I'm glad you brought that up because Sukanya, because that was that really opened him up to a new generation of fans and gave his, at that point, it was like 1995, I believe, gave his career a big charge. And he did Toy Story 2. And I think one of the Toy Stories, he had already passed away, but they wanted to get him in the movie. So they took outtakes from the other movies and worked in these lines from Mr. Potato Head.
I feel like, like Toy Story 4,
Yeah. And it was part of, but they had lines from Mr. Potato Head, so he's part of the movie because they really wanted to get him in there. And his family loved it too. You know, there were some interesting things of his personal life. He had a son named Larry who was in the business too, who directed, there was an Emmy-winning documentary about Don called, it was called Mr. Warmth. And Larry won an Emmy for that, but he tragically passed away. He was only 41. He had pneumonia. And Don never got over that. That was in the early 2000s, I believe, or late 90s. I don't remember the exact year.
That's awful.
And, you know, a parent never really, it's not supposed to happen, right? Yeah. And he never really got over it, but he soldiered on and he made the best of it. And, you know, and he had a great marriage to his wife, Barbara. They married when Don was closing in on 40. So he had done the dating scene and, you know, with a lot of people you might not expect. The singer Kay Starr, it's in the book. It's like, what? She was known as, she was a country. Yeah, it's like, what do they have in common? But they were, you know, if you believe the gossip columns from that time, do we believe them? That they were, yeah, he knew Barbra Streisand. They were, he and Kay Starr were a hot item, and there were other celebrities too in there. Connie Francis, who I interviewed for the book. Don, she helped Don out once because when he was working in Vegas, he made fun of a mobster. He didn't realize it was he made fun of the mobster's wife, actually.
Mr. Gallo?
And
Gallo?
No, it wasn't. No,
Joe Gallo?
I'll tell you a Joey Gallo story, but it wasn't him. It was some guy from Jersey. And after the show, the guy sent word that he was not pleased and he would basically break Don's legs. So Don, in a panic, he was very friendly with Connie Francis. He called Connie. He's like, you know, what am I going to do? And she said, don't worry. I know so-and-so in Jersey, because she was connected to a lot of those guys. And don't worry about it. I'll call so-and-so and, you know, we'll take care of it for you. They did. And he was very relieved, but and it wasn't the first time that he did that. So, you know, listen, you're Don Rickles, but, you know, even you can only get away with so much if you're going to make fun of somebody who is not appreciative of your humor.
That's so great. I love how he was talking about Sinatra. He says, when you enter the room, he expects you to kiss his ring. I don't mind. I don't mind, except the ring's in his back pocket.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Sinatra loved him. There weren't really many. Joey Bishop early on, I wrote a book about him years ago. He could make fun of Sinatra, sort of, but that didn't last long because he was banished from the Rat Pack, and he never spoke to Sinatra again for whatever misdeed Joey did. It had something to do with renting a private plane or something.
Right.
But Don, you know, for 40 plus years, 50 years almost, could make fun of Sinatra, and it was just part of the gig. And they toured together towards the end of Sinatra's career. Don opened for him. They did tons of television shows together. They co-hosted the Emmys. Was it the Oscars? I'm getting one of them together.
Yeah.
Or they presented together. They didn't co-host. And they did that on several award shows because, you know, the producers knew that when you put those two together, it was basically going to be Rickles ripping on Sinatra and Sinatra, you know, laughing and eating it up. As far as we know.
That's so great.
They were
so good.
Yeah, they stayed friends. I think they really were dear friends.
The name of the book right here is Don Rickles, The Merchant of Venom, a biography by Michael Starr. And Michael, you know, you mentioned the other books, right? So you got the Mouse and the Rat Pack with Joey Bishop. Give me, I'm going to put a couple of them
Ringo
up.
Starr, right?
Just give me like one or two things that you found about, for example, okay, Ringo with a little help. What was like, again, what was there something that surprised you about Ringo Starr that you didn't know before you started researching the book?
The one thing I'll say about Ringo off the top of my head is that when the Beatles first came to America, he was the most popular Beatle. He had the nickname, and His real name was Richard Starkey. It wasn't Lennon or McCartney or George Harrison. It was Ringo.
Mm-hmm.
People wearing, Ringo for President buttons and all this kind of stuff. And I was surprised at that because, let's face it, you look at the Beatles, it's Lennon, McCartney, usually in this order: Lennon, McCartney, Harrison. Oh, yeah. And
Ringo. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Yeah, it's a little too much now. It's a little OCD-ish, if you ask me, with the peace and love stuff. But and when he joined the Beatles, he was the best drummer in Liverpool. That's a fact. I mean, and they wanted him, particularly George Harrison.
Right.
And they recruited him, and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
So great. And then one of my dad's favorites, Red Fox. Little Sanford.
Yeah. Red was great. I mean, the thing that I didn't really know about him is all these years he spent in what they call the Chitlin circuit, because he couldn't play the mainstream clubs because he was black. And in those days, in the 40s and 50s, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get a break on TV either. And then he finally started, and he was the king of the party albums. They were called blue albums because they were dirty.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to them now, what we hear now is nothing like you hear now.
Yeah. What we see
and early. Yeah, exactly. And he never used profanity, interestingly enough, early on. He did later. But he would say like "fark" instead of, the F word and that kind of thing. And he was never political, which I think helped him later on, because Don wasn't either, actually. You just, because you can alienate a lot of people who just want to see your comedy. We've seen that today with a lot of comedians. They get too political one way or the other. It's alienating. But Don never really revealed how he felt, and he made fun of Ronald Reagan, he made fun of Lyndon Johnson, he made fun of John Kennedy, he made fun of Jimmy Carter, who, by the way, was the only president who never had him to the White House.
Oh, wow.
So maybe not much of a sense of humor there. But but Red kept it, just funny stuff down the middle. A lot of hygienic stuff he talked.
Oh my God!
You know what? There was such a sense of decorum back then too, because even though a blow might have hit a little low, people didn't throw things at the comedians and do what they're doing now, where it feels like this wall or this sense of
nobody got slapped.
Yeah, no one got slapped. No one got. There was a lot.
Yes,
a lot of different. It was a different time. For sure.
It was. And that's not to say that Don didn't have his critics. He did. Celebrities included Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz were not fans. They criticized him roundly early in his career, but eventually Lucy came around. And there were op-ed pieces about him in newspapers about not doing the right. But it was the tenor of the times, right? I mean, you could say the stuff that he said, and you might bothered some people. There are some technicians at CBS who were not happy. Black technicians were not happy with his act, but they didn't speak up. Either they didn't have the outlet for it, or they just thought nobody would listen, or the media wouldn't listen. It was a different time. We know that. Look at the Rat Pack. I mean, half the stuff they did. Dean Martin picking up Sammy Davis Jr. saying, I want to give you this award from the NAACP. And they called him Smokey. I mean,
yeah. Oh Lord.
You could not
do that. Can't do it now. And just give me one sentence on this guy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not well liked. I'll put it that way. He's done a lot of great things in his career, and he continues to go. He's 90. He'll be 92 now, I think, in March.
90. Yeah.
And he's done everything. I would say, just his curiosity in TV and doing movie roles. That he once did a movie in Esperanto. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a made-up language. And it is. And in the 60s, when before Star Trek, and his career was kind of in the dumper, he was doing a lot of TV, but he wasn't getting well known. He actually made a movie, and he had to learn in Esperanto. It's like, what? It's like an art house movie that nobody saw. But but listen, I mean, he's always willing to take chances, and he went to space recently, on SpaceX, and he's done a lot of things in his career. I mean, we all know Captain Kirk, and I tried to point out in the book about his TV career, not only in America but in Canada, because he's from Montreal. And he was a pitchman for Priceline. He made a lot of money doing that. It depends on who you talk to. He didn't. There were a lot of people who don't like him and didn't like him back then. And we all know George Takei on Star Trek.
Yeah.
They still argue. I mean, it's like, come on, you guys are like, Shatner's in his 90s. Takei is almost there. It's like, really? You're still arguing?
Still going. The name of the recent book right now is Don Rickles, The Merchant of Venom, a biography. So, Michael, you have been a longtime New York Post
columnist.
TV columnist, critic.
I've done everything pretty much in the TV.
I want to see how much TV knowledge is still rolling around in your head.
Oh boy!
So if you have a little pen and a piece of paper, Suk, you have a pen and a piece of paper.
Yes.
I'm going to give you guys 5 questions, which I think are fairly easy. But then again, I wrote the quiz. And I'm just going to see, who knows what. I don't want you to yell out any.
I wouldn't have been able to scream out Emmanuel Lewis. I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, Webster. Remember that?
You just write them down, and then when we're done, we'll see who got what right. You ready?
Very well.
For example, the TV show Happy Days. What are the names of Richie's parents? The names of Richie's parents.
Mm-hmm.
The Cunninghams. You write it down, Suk? Don't say it. Just write it down. Give me the names of Richie's parents.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
All right.
Yep.
By the way, there's a bonus in there. What did Mr. Cunningham do for a living?
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
That's the bonus question.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right.
I got that.
Here's question number 2. Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, my God.
Finish these lyrics. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. What's the next line in the opening?
That's what I'm doing.
Or I could have asked you in Shatner, give us any chance, we'll take it.
We'll take
it. We'll take it. Here we go, rolling along, almost done.
Okay.
Name for me the 2 landlords on Three's Company, the 2 landlords that we got to know on Three's Company. Yes.
Oh my God.
So easy, Suk, yet just that touch of difficulty.
Oh God, that one's
Sal the Voice Valentinetti playing along in his car, ladies and gentlemen. Ready for the next one?
That one's tough.
The 2 landlords, different seasons.
Oh my God, what was the guy? Oh, I know the actor too.
No, we won't accept the actor's
right?
name.
Don Knotts was. It's not the actor. You want the actual character's name.
I want the actual character's name.
Madonna mia.
Here's the next one, Suki. We must move on. You may write it down at any point.
Will.
On the show Cheers, Ted Danson played Sam Malone. Sam Malone was a former pitcher for what major league ball club? On Cheers.
Stop.
Sam Malone, pitcher for what major league ball club on Cheers?
Okay, I'll just guess.
Last one, Suk. You ready?
Yeah.
On Seinfeld, how does George Costanza's fiance die? How does Susan die on Seinfeld?
I don't know.
All right. Suk, while you're mulling over that one, here's the bonus question for both of you guys. Which sitcom always opens with its main characters heading down to the fishing hole? Which sitcom?
That's the bonus one?
That is the bonus question. See how you guys did?
Oh my God, I'm not even American and I'm doing this. I wasn't even raised on this television. This is
They didn't play this in India?
No, they didn't.
All right, you're ready?
This is like my years on Staten Island watching TV as a latchkey kid.
So here you go. TV show Happy Days. What are the names of Richie's parents? Suk, I'll start with you.
Marion and Howard. Marion and Howard.
Nicely done. Michael,
Yes.
Did you have the same answer?
No idea. I had Mr. and Mrs. C.
Now, normally
Marion
we would have.
Ross, though, I know she played it.
Yes, we would have accepted that answer, but not today. Here we go. Laverne and Shirley, finish the lyrics. Give us any chance, we'll take it.
Give us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true, right?
Michael, is she correct or is she incorrect?
Well, she might be, because I had "Give us any blah, we'll fake it." I don't remember. I wasn't watching much TV then.
Suki was close. She said, "Give us any rule, we'll break it." It's actually "Read us any rule, we'll break it."
Okay,
so
whatever.
Whatever.
You get +1 on that. Okay, good.
Close enough.
There we go. All right, here we go. Next one. Name the two landlords on Three's Company. Michael, who'd you have?
Mr. Roper and Mr. Furley.
Suki, did you have that
I
same
put
answer?
Ralph Furley.
That is correct, but you didn't have Mr. Roper?
Yeah, I didn't have Roper. I had.
All
I
right.
remember Don Rickles. Can you imagine that?
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts. Yes,
Don
Don Knotts. Sorry.
With a bad hairpiece. Yes.
Yes.
Sam Malone.
Exactly.
Sam Malone on Cheers was a former pitcher for what baseball team?
I guess Boston Red Sox, but I know that's wrong.
Michael, is she
Red
correct?
Sox.
Red Sox is
Oh
the
my
right
God,
answer,
that was
Suki.
such a guess.
Nicely done. Nicely done. And the last two before we finish up on Seinfeld. How does George's fiance Susan die? What does she die from, Michael?
Licking wedding envelopes from the glue.
Suki, do you agree or disagree?
I agree, because I never watched that episode.
That is the correct answer. Licking wedding envelopes is the right answer. And which sitcom always opens with the main characters heading down to the fishing hole? Little whistling to start it off. Suk, what do you go with?
I know it's the famous director who was in Happy Days, and I forgot his name, and Opie and
Andy
Opie
Griffith
something. Yeah, Andy Griffith.
Andy
It's Andy Griffith.
is the correct answer.
Is that Opie in that?
That is Opie.
Okay,
yes.
all right. I knew something. There you go. That
Ron
wasn't really
Howard
1978 for me, you know?
Michael, listen, man, thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, the name of the book, Don Rickles, The Merchant of Venom. If you are a comedy fan, you got to get this book. Get it for your husband for the holidays, wherever books are sold. And it's just a phenomenal life, phenomenal comedian, a man who is an absolute genius.
Michael, I'm just curious, since, listen, look at me. We've consumed so much culture, American culture together that kind of all bonds us together. What's this next generation or this next iteration of whatever America is? How are they going to bond over everything? I know there's not one thing that brings anybody together anymore. There's nothing that brings anybody together.
Except for this show, Sue. This show look at all the people who come together.
My words exactdon't. Today it seems like it's Instagram or TikTok or whatever the flavor of the month is. I know it's a good question, but people, gossip and entertainment is always going to be a bonding thing. I don't think it, no matter what platform it's on, people are going to watch good streaming shows, or maybe not so much broadcast shows anymore, because that's the endangered species, or people are going to go watch good movies. Even people of all ages. I don't think it really matters what your age is, but I think it's a good question. And it's definitely trending towards whatever the digital platform is strongest right now. And right now it seems to be TikTok and Instagram. I'm probably leaving something out. These kids, my daughter is 29. She does watch television, but she watches it on her computer. She has no cable, hasn't had it for years.
Yeah.
No.
Still watches Grey's Anatomy. So God bless her.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I can't say I ever did.
Peacock.
Yeah, me neither.
Michael, listen, thank you so much. Just a pleasure to have you on. Again, one more time, Don Rickles, The Merchant of Venom. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to go out, get this book. Like I said, listen, if you're 40 plus, 45 plus, everybody was watching Don Rickles. So, and our audience is all 45 plus, so they got to go out and get this book. Michael,
buy now, and we'll add another one for free.
Buy now, and you'll get Shatner and Ringo absolutely free.
There you go.
And speaking of digital platforms, Michael, here's all the platforms that you'll be airing on eventually. So the book will get some nice plug, and hopefully we sell a couple for you. And again, just a pleasure. I love talking about the
thanks for having me on, man. This was a lot of fun.
Nice talking to you, Michael.
Michael, thank you, my friend. Continued success, buddy.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye. Sue, good stuff. I love going down the memory lane with that. I'll tell you, I remember my father watching those roasts all the time.
It was just a different time, right?
Yeah, but even if you go, sometimes, like I would, if I was at work killing some time, I would throw them on. You throw them up on YouTube, and
you sit there and laugh.
You sit there and you laugh, and you're like, "Damn, this was great." Anyway, listen, Sal the Voice coming up in just a second. But first, Suki, hey, you remember that sweeper thing we were talking about last week?
Yes.
Check this out, Suki. No more bending up with a sweeping, Suki.
What you're seeing is a revolution in broom technology. Bending down is no longer needed to use a broom and a dustpan. Introducing the one-step broom. Just step, hook, lift. The patented hook and lift system brings the dustpan up to you. Bending down is no longer necessary. The one-step broom also has a revolutionary dual-sided broom head. It has high-density dry bristles on one side for sweeping up dry debris, and rubber bristles for wet spills that form a rubber wall to push liquid into the dustpan. Step, hook, lift. Sweep up in the kitchen, work areas, and outdoors. Just step, hook, lift. The one-step broom eliminates the bending and makes it fun to sweep up. Step, hook, lift. No bending. The one-step broom comes in beautiful bronze and silver, along with its patented hook and lift dustpan and dual-sided wet-dry broom head. The one-step broom is an American invention that has revolutionized the way you sweep. Go to onestepbroom.com now. That's onestepbroom.com.
OneStepBroom.com, Suk. You step, you lift, you sweep, you go, you eat, you go to lunch. It's all good. Suk, listen, our boy Sal, the Voice, Valentinetti, is back with us. We love this guy. Sal was on with us on Pix 11. He was on this show before. He's taken the world by storm. He's got, he sings all the songs we love, the Sinatras, the Bobby Darrens, all that good stuff, Suk. Let me give you a little of Sal, and then we're going to bring him out on the other side, see what the hell's cooking. He's in his car, which is great for singing. You get a nice echo in the car, Suk. It's almost as good as the shower. But here you go. Here's little Sal the Kid, and we'll bring him in on the other side.
If I can make it there, I'll make it to our nation. Anywhere, it's up to you.
Good night, everybody.
Sal, how are you?
How you doing?
We're
Sally,
good.
It's so good to see you guys.
Do me a favor. Listen, this isn't some schlocky podcast somewhere. Turn the camera sideways. There you go.
Now we see you.
Trust me, I mean no disrespect. I'm in sunny, beautiful California.
I was gonna say, man.
The only trouble is I can't find a place where I could be alone.
Look at you. What do you? No, I was gonna say what you.
I was really. Go ahead, Scott.
I was just gonna say you're cruising around California. You got the top open, the palm trees.
Look
we
at
got
you.
A crappy day here in New York, and you're living
awful, disgusting, and you got a beautiful day. Look at you.
Listen, these Californians are very lucky when it's not on fire or sliding down the side of the hill.
We're falling into the ocean.
So I think Michael was great, especially waiting in the wings and watching it, because you talk about Don Rickles and being the merchant of Venom, and known for something that I said I wanted to bring back, which was those roasts and that kind of tongue-in-cheek, fun kind of evening. And last night, actually right across this parking lot at the Vibrato here in Bel Air, we did a Friars Club night.
Oh wow!
And last night, that's what I'm here for. And it was great, and I really felt the essence of Don in the room, and the essence of Dean, and the essence of Frank. It's a great room for that. It was a great band and a great night, and all the great characters from the Friars Club were there. So
I love. So who was getting roasted?
Everybody at least in front of me. I roasted Los Angeles for about 20 minutes, and then I went into the people.
Nice. Now, did you have somebody like a comedian help you write that roast material, or you did it on your own?
No, I'm a New Yorker. I know how to bust shoes, as they say. You know? Have you, Suki and Scott? You guys have to interview a gentleman called Nems. He did a viral TikTok about the people of Coney Island, and he stands on a corner and watches people go by,
right?
And he'll say, you know, don't ever disrespect me looking like Dora the Explorer all grown up, or don't ever disrespect me looking like a Russian handy manny or something like that. And as the people go by, he'll roast them. I just think that's fantastic. I think that these days people are very sensitive, and we're almost afraid to go there. But I'm really glad that New Yorkers still can.
Yeah, no, I know. Everything's so sensitive. But again, like I told Suk, I was watching Rickles all day yesterday, and I'm hysterical laughing. And I'm like, man, he couldn't go on like Jimmy Fallon and say that today, or Kimmel.
Absolutely not.
Right? Man? He would get lambasted, man.
Absolutely not.
How is California? How is a New Yorker loving California? Do you feel like a fish out of water half the time?
Absolutely. I stick out like a sore weed. You know, it definitely, I am out of my element.
Do they say you're not from around here as soon as you open your mouth? They're like, where are you from?
it's even worse, Suki. They'll have a conversation with me, and they'll be smiling like and nodding along to everything I say, and then they'll walk away and they'll bring back a friend, and they'll say, "Can you just say what you just said to my friend?"
You don't have an accent. I have an accent, right?
We love your accent. Oh, come on. Love my accent. I feel like a fish out of water. I feel like a circus freak. Like, what do you mean?
What accent? What are they talking about?
I don't understand it, Scott. I don't get it.
I love it, man. Sal, listen, give me a little 30 seconds of Bobby Darin, little Mac the Knife.
Oh, the shark babe has such teeth, dear. And he shows them pearly whites, just a jackknife has old Mac Heath, babe, and he keeps it out of sight. Come on.
Nice.
Come on, Sal. That's awesome.
Great song about a serial killer.
Yeah, right? Isn't that great? Sal, before we even started the show, I gave a little preview. You know, you came to see us at Pix 11.
Sure
and
did.
You were singing My Way.
Frank, yeah, My Way.
Until somebody hijacked the whole performance with you. I have a little of that right here. I'll take you back a couple of years, about 5 years, 6 years now. Take a look.
He thinks he can sing.
No, wrong one. This one.
But through it all, when there was doubt, what I just got. Sal, he ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall.
Hit it, Sally, kid. Hit it, baby.
I did it my way.
Oh, Sal, the voice.
A round of applause.
Is in order?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You are fantastic.
Bro, can I sing with you at Westbury Music Fair?
I don't give him enough credit. Everywhere he goes, he hijacks the mic. He's singing songs,
I got to tell you, though, it always is great to me. And a lot of people that will ask me, especially when I'm at a venue or something, and they'll say, do you think it's okay if so-and-so comes up and sings this song with you or something
everybody
like
wants
that?
to sing with you.
And I'll go, you don't have to ask me. Aww. This is the music that brings back memories for people. It brings people back to a happier place. At least that's what it does for me.
Yeah.
So anytime I can share in this joyful noise that I get to make is a blessing in itself. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Especially when the guy doing it is pretty damn good.
Now you just made his head explode right there. You just made his head explode, Sal. Stop with that.
Sal, when this show is in the studio, you're coming back in, dude, and we're gonna do some stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Sal,
we got to do we got to get back into New York. We got to show people that people out here in California assume New York is dead. And I tell them,
what is up with that? Why did they have
if that's what you feel, then stay the hell over here.
Sal, the holidays are coming up. I know you got a Christmas album, Christmas songs out. Talk to us about that.
I got my Christmas album, Christmas presents. They're so great every season. And of course, we have so many great shows lined up. Actually, one that's just being announced is December 22nd at the Paramount in Huntington. That was the first venue I ever played at was the Paramount in Huntington. And I'm so happy to be going back. But all my dates are at salthevoiceny.com. You can find ticket links there and all. If you're looking for more of me, of course, it doesn't end in your ears. I'm also a feast for the eyes. I got a new YouTube series called Get in the Car. It's on the Growing Up Italian YouTube page. And you know what, Suki and Scott, I've had the absolute pleasure and honor of getting to travel this great nation and meet so many great people along the way. Right. And now I get to share those people and those experiences with not only my fans, but new fans alike.
So they get in the car with you. Tell me, so they get in the car with you, and what do you have, a conversation? What do you do?
No. We get in the car, and we go to Boston. We go to Philly. We'll go to St. Louis. We'll go to New Orleans. And we find these little Italian-American enclaves, or maybe even these places where I do feel like a fish out of water, but places that I've come to love as a second home, as a home away from home. Especially you live my life, you're on the road as much as I am. You learn to make friends in every single little city. And like in Boston, we walked down the street. I took everyone to Modern Pastry. And one of the stories we were telling is of a guy named Albie who used to live upstairs, and he would lower a bucket down, and they'd put lobster tail and Napoleon and rainbow cookies in the bucket and lift it back up, and he'd send down the cash. Like you only get stories like this if you hang out locally. And this is right in the middle of Hanover Street in Boston's North End.
And you know what? I hate when people just don't even know when they go to like a nice Italian deli. They don't know how to order an ear or lobster tail. Like, what is
lobster
that? You're putting a pastry thing together, and you're not putting a lobster tail and a couple of ears. And
that cream.
What's wrong with you?
That cream and the lobster tail is insane.
It's the crunch, Scott. For me, it's the outer layer.
Me too. It's the outer layer.
We went to Pittsburgh, and we were in the Strip District in Pittsburgh, and there's a little coffee shop and a bakery that were next door to each other. And over the years, so many people would go right from the bakery to the coffee shop or vice versa that they put a hole in the wall. So two completely different stores, but you could get your lobster tail, you get your schmoyadel, you get your coffee, and it's the most amazing crunch you've ever heard.
I love that crunch.
I loved it so much.
And then the powdered sugar all over you.
I picked up a whole box of pastries, and I had dinner with an Italian family in their basement in Brookline, Pennsylvania. You know, a lot of great encounters like that. It's about food, of course. It's about culture, but most importantly, it's about people. It's about the relationships we build over life. You know, so I was telling someone a story once as we were traveling, and every town we would meet another person, and there'd be another story. And they go, "Wow, Sal, you're like the Italian American Forrest Gump." And I said, "I don't know whether that's a compliment or not, but thank you."
Sal, listen, tell me about your affair with Heidi Klum. How did that go back in the day?
My affair with Heidi Klum. You ever hear of LA Confidential, Scott?
Was I not supposed to say anything about that? Listen, man,
let me tell you about my affair with Heidi.
How gorgeous is she? First of
all, drop dead gorgeous. But more so than that, let me tell you about my affair with Heidi Klum. You know, a lot of people think that the judges on these shows are really just there as like a figurehead. They're really not, invested into it. But Heidi Klum, for the last 6 years, I've been off the show for 6 years.
Wow.
And for the last 6 years, Heidi has supported my career, has reached out to me, in times of personal grief and everything as a friend.
Aww.
She's a tremendous person, a tremendous influence in my life. Matter of fact, the last show I did at Vibrato here, it was a sold out crowd, all but for a 7-seat table directly in my line of sight. And it was empty for the first couple songs. And I was thinking, wow, this whole room is sold out. Somebody booked this table and now they're not going to show up. How sad is that? And I didn't even think that Heidi would be in town, let alone know that I'm playing there and come and surprise me with her entire family.
Wow.
She's just a great person, a great person, a wonderful businesswoman. She runs several businesses. She has a couple different television shows. Right now, she's got a great show with Tim Gunn on Amazon. I'll give her a plug, not that she needs it. And she's a great mom. She's got a great family. She's got great children. And she's really opened my eyes to what Hollywood can be. You know, that there are really great people out here who really want to see you succeed and are invested in that.
Bro, listen, next time she calls you in your time of need, why don't you throw her a little Suki and Scott show information and you pop her on the show, man?
Why do you guys come to the Halloween party?
Oh man, where is that? Where is that? Where is that and when is that?
So my fiance Gianna and I will go into the Halloween
Congratulations,
party.
by the way.
Thank you. As Ginger and the Captain from
Oh my God, amazing.
You were just talking about old shows, and I was answering all those questions too. You don't know, I was screaming, Andy Griffith!
I didn't know Andy Griffith. I was like, Opie.
From Gilligan's Island, of course.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time. Heidi's Halloween party is a tremendous event every year. And the most exciting part is her costume, because this woman literally spends countless hours, I mean like 10, 12 hours in a chair doing makeup and prosthetics and all the whole nine. She really takes it to the next level. So, you know, I went and bought myself a captain hat. I was down in Fort Lauderdale this past weekend. So I went and got myself a genuine captain hat. And it was like, you know, dumb money for a Halloween costume. But I said, well, how are we going to keep up? It's unbelievable.
How are we going to keep up? We got to look good.
Being friends with someone like Heidi Klum. How am I going to keep up?
Listen, do you remember the theme song for Gilligan's Island?
No.
Sit right back in with tale of a tradeful trip.
So I knew the tune. I didn't know the words.
Started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship.
I know the theme song to Andy Griffith's show. I know all the words.
Good one, Sal. Good one.
All right, Sal. Listen, you gotta give us a little. You know, people might look at you in your car and think you're nuts, but you gotta. I need a little.
Scott, I'm in Los Angeles. Everybody's
nuts.
True.
That's true.
Perfectly said, Sal. Perfectly
There's
said.
a guy over there on the sidewalk in a tent thinking this guy's crazy.
This guy's singing to himself. Give me a little. I need either a little My Way or Luck Be a Lady. One of the two.
Oh boy.
Or That's Life. I'll give you a choice.
That's life.
Oh, I could do That's Life.
Give me a little That's
I'm
Life.
not in the best voice, Scott. Over the weekend, I was helping a family friend of mine push their stuff out of their house in Fort Myers. Unfortunately, I was exposed to mold. but for you,
go ahead,
baby.
Scott.
Ready?
Here we go.
For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. Let the record show Scott and Suki took the blows. They did it my way.
Ain't that the truth? Thank you.
Nice. Hey, when did you get engaged, bro? Recently, right?
So ready for that? We just had the engagement party. We just did the celebration.
I think I saw you on Instagram. I saw that.
I was under such pressure to make this, to do this right? Because obviously I live this life where it's all spotlight and it's all
man. You got to sing it up.
All this drama. So everyone now is expecting me to like do a flash mob in the middle of the mall or something crazy like that. And I said, oh boy, what do I do? What do I do? What is the most important thing to Gianna and I? Is it pomp and circumstance? No. Is it glitz and glamour? Absolutely not. Although we do know how to glam it up. It's family. And so this year we hosted our first Christmas Eve, which for Italians is like,
big, huge.
Yeah. It's like the Daytona 500 for people down in Florida. It's a big deal. And so we had 40 of everyone we love. And right as I made the toast before dessert, I turned to my future bride and I said my piece, and I got down on my knee and I asked her to marry me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody must have been crying.
I mean, listen, Gianna lost her father 4.5 years ago. Faces of Long Island actually did a story on her that'll appear in Newsday, and it's been a rough road, but we've been able to make it because of our family, and because of what we have. We have something real special. We really
love
do.
that. Beautiful. And God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you guys. You and Gianna.
Sally Kidd, tell me again about the Paramount. When's that coming up?
December 22nd. I'm so excited. Like I want it to be December 21st.
Don't push it, Sally. Don't push it.
The Paramount is one of those rooms where it's a newer room, and yet when you stand on the stage, you feel this sense of history, this sense of belonging, and this sense of home. So I'm really excited to do it. Of course, there are plenty of shows between now and then. If anyone out there wants to come, next week I'm in Detroit. The week after that, I'm in Chicago, and all this. You just got to go to SalTheVoiceNY.com. You got to follow Sal the Voice on Facebook. It's the one with the blue check. Sal the Voice on Instagram. Growing Up Italian on YouTube. Get in the car and make sure you tune in for the Suki and Scott show. Any chance you have.
Bro, we gotta do a get in the car with you, me, and Suki, dude. That would be hysterical.
Yes! Yeah. What should we do? Should we do the Bronx, the Boogie Down?
Yeah, let's do the Bronx.
Man. We'll sing. We'll just sing in the car the whole time. Like,
no, I gotta bring you to Gino's. You gotta see my guy Jerome at Gino's. You gotta go. You gotta go to Dominic's. We gotta go to the Arthur Avenue Market. Get some hand-rolled cigars. See my friend David Greco at Mike's Deli. I mean, really, there is.
That would be funny. Dude.
Endless possibilities. Pelham Bay Park. The Country Club. Many great neighborhoods.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, dude.
I'm the Boogie Down.
I'm serious. We got to do it. When you're looking for people, Sally Kidd, I love you, bud. December 21st at the 22nd or 21st?
21st.
21st.
The 22nd.
22nd.
Yeah, I got to get
Paramount,
out there.
22nd.
I got to get out there. I got to check it out. Sal, we love you, bud. Continued success. Congrats on the engagement. And just keep doing what you're doing, my friend. You're blowing it out.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
We love you, Sal. We love you. Tell Gianna, God bless, all right?
Don't get too overworked in California, bud. Don't get
no, forget it. Overworked. You know what these people call a morning meeting? 11:30. They call it morning meeting.
It's unreal.
Overworked.
I love it, man. We love you, bud. Thanks so much, Sally Kidd.
Bye, Sally.
Love you.
Love Sal. Love Sal. See you later, Sally the Kid.
What a good guy. So you know what? He seems so young with such an old soul, right?
Voice, yeah.
But he's got that old soul going on with the old standards. Anyway, Sue, great show today.
Love you.
And let me leave you with a little montage. Everybody loved the montage I played last week of all like the old celebs we've had on the show. I put one together with a lot of folks who, whatchamacalls it. A lot of the singers we've had on. So enjoy this. We'll see you guys later on. We love you. Mwah. We'll see you. We'll replay this tonight at 7:30 so you can catch it again. And adios, everybody.
Adios.
Now I don't know what to do.
Hold on.
Everybody, listen to me and return me my ship.
You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the grinning bobcat why he grins?
But lately something's changed and ain't hard to define. Guess he got himself a girl.
And I want to make her mine.
There you go, just watch you in the whole night.
Something inside whispered to me, you better move in carefully. And then he smiled and turned away. That told me all he could not say. I tried not to let it show. Now I don't know what to do to myself because I'm dying. So let's not just let it go. My heart does double beats for you. Ooh.
Oceans apart, day after day, and I slowly go insane.
Love will lead you back someday. I just know that love will lead you back to my arms where you belong. I can see what's mine now, finding out what's true. Since I found you, looking through the eyes of love.
Now that my life is so prearranged, I know that it's time for a cool change.
The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. I had a dream I was your hero. Yeah, I wish I was your lover. I like you till the daylight comes. Make sure you are smiling now.
And I imagine you and me just taking shots at what we see. And if we both just take away the dust and just outlast them all. Okay.
I am Shirley on the Suki and Scott show.
But through it all, when there was doubt, what I just got. Oh, Sal, he ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall. Hit it, Sally, kid, hit it, baby. I did it my way. Oh, Sal, the voice. A round of applause. Is in order.
Thank you very much. Thank you.